games. It's ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames. Drop a like, drop a sub, go ahead and subscribe to ScrubGames.
How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we're going over the reveals from the last week, or even before that, from wherever I last did the video. I did miss out last week because I didn't have the time to look into it and record the video, so we're having what should have been last week with this week as well. So we're going to get into have a look and see what brand new cards, because a load more cards have been shown, and the set is looking to be absolutely amazing, and I am really looking forward to it. So, but before we get into it, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop, and by clicking on the notification bell, you can then also get alerts when my videos do drop, so you can then watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you best. And we're getting closer and closer to our goal, which is aiming to be 2,000 subs, and we're currently just under 100 left to go, and so any little bit helps, and if you have subscribed, then thank you very much. So let's get into it and check out what we've seen so far in the past week or two. So we've got the Ever Blue leader. So we had Kanan Jarrus revealed quite early in, and we got the Ever Blue heroic leader being Ahsoka Tano. So this is quite an interesting one, is since I think by the looks of it, the set seems to be there is one leader that needs to use the Force and one leader that doesn't in each of the aspect combos. So in both in blue, there's one in the heroic side that needs Force, one doesn't, and same with the dark side, and same for each one. And it not sure if both of the, because we're getting two other leaders rather than get a starlet leaders, so we're having extra of the same certain aspects with leaders. We're getting two leaders are going to be mono, which are being Darth Revan, as we've seen, being the mono Villainy, and we've got another one which is speculated to be Anakin Skywalker as the mono heroic one. So we've got those ones as well, which is pretty interesting. They don't use the Force. I wonder if the Anakin will need to. But so far, one leader uses the Force in each aspect combo, and one doesn't. And since Kanan doesn't, then Ahsoka is the one that uses the Force. And she is a 6 deploy leader. And it comes out as a 5/6, pretty decent stats, pretty solid, same as Boss Darth Maul we've seen, and it's not the best stats to get, especially when you deploy it at 6, but it's a heavy amount of power and a good amount of health, and health matters because if it's 5 or less, it can be easily taken out by things like Takedown, which is a card that's seen play since the beginning of the game, and it's not something you want to have on lead that can be just taken out straight there and then. She also has the traits of Force and Fringe, so Fringe doesn't really get you any benefits, it's just like not like I think it's non-factioned, maybe just like non-factioned, but is are about, and yeah, I don't know if they're going to make any use of Fringe or not. But then we've got Force, because every leader seems to be in the set because it's Force focus set, having the Force trait, which is cool, so we got a Force on there. Now her ability is all about giving Sentinel out, so making like a Sentinel to protect either her or the rest of your units. And when she's in the lead area, it is an action by tapping her and using the Force. So losing your Force token, you get to give a friendly unit Sentinel for this phase, meaning that if your opponent wants to go towards your base or other units, you have to get through that card first. So that's pretty cool. And when she deploys, she has the same ability, but now she doesn't have to use the Force, just is on attack. So when she attacks, she gets to give a friendly unit Sentinel for this phase. And this doesn't say other friendly unit. She can give Sentinel to herself as well, so that's pretty cool. So on attack, give a friendly unit, including herself, Sentinel for this phase. Now it's not very amazing because you've got to think about all the good leaders we've got in the heroic side of blue, and we've got quite a few Force ones as well. So the thing with Ahsoka is she has to compete with all those Force leaders in the same aspects, like Chirrut, you've got Rey, you've got, I think there's another one from last set, just trying to think off the top of my head. There's even Kanan as well in the same set. There's Luke as well. There are a fair few Force units in there, and they all vary on their depending on their time when they deploy. So their deploy turn, their epic action deploy, and also on their stats and their effects as well. And giving Sentinel to other units isn't that beneficial, that great. Like it can be handy, but it's not as amazing as say like Rey being able to buff up units and things like that. So she's gonna have to compete with those aspects, well, those ones. But when she gets rotated out, well, once the rest of them get rotated out, then she has more of a purpose in those aspects. But at the moment, until we get rotation, she's not doing anything better than the top ones like Rey at the moment. Next, we've got the Villainy side of green. So we've already seen, well, I think we've now seen all of the green leaders, so we'll see all those now. But we've got the first one being Morgan Elsbeth for the Villainy side of green. And she's pretty interesting. So once again, another Force unit, but she's got the Imperial and Night trait. So not Night trait's quite new. I think it's quite new. Yeah, because I don't think we've had any Night Sisters previous to this. So yes, folks showing the new trait in this aspect, and also Imperials, so getting some benefits from those Imperial cards, which we've had since the beginning of the games, set 1. And she's pretty cool, because she's a 5 cost, well, 5 deploy, 3/6, so pretty good stats we've seen on things like set 2 hand and stuff like that. So once again, health outside the range of being able to instantly take down, and a good amount of power to go with it. And once again, a quick early deploy Force unit. We just have to see if there's any solid Force cards or Force benefits from green, but she can also have another aspect with her thanks to her base to then go ahead and get the Force benefits. So with her effect, it's all about playing things that share a keyword and play them a little bit cheaper. So kind of doing essentially the same thing that hand does, but instead of doing it similar, because why would you want to put the same effect on another leader when another leader does the same thing unless you want the certain aspects? But her effect is all about playing things cheaper, but in a different way to how Han does. Because Han, he can play something for 1 less, so 1 cheaper than it normally can be played, but you played 2 damage on it. So it comes in a little bit damaged though, but it plays a little bit cheaper. Now Morgan's effect is an action whereby tapping her, you can choose a friendly unit that attack this phase, or a unit that specifically has to be a unit that has attacked this phase. Then you get to play a unit from your hand that shares a keyword with this chosen unit, and it costs 1 less. So it's not as, when she's in the lead area, it's not as great as hand, where hand just goes on with a play something a little bit cheaper, but it takes 2 damage. You specifically has to have something on the board previously that can attack, or can attack the same turn. And then you can play a card from your hand that has to share a keyword. So it has to have the keyword that is shared with the chosen unit that's attacked. And then you can play it for 1 less. But luckily, there's quite a few keywords that you can have about. Like you got like the keep a unit in play on the from the terrestrials to turn 2. You can start doing this. Is keywords like hidden, or keywords like shielded are pretty nice ones. Even keywords like raid and stuff like that can have issues. Just remember, you have to have a keyword that it shares, and have a keyword that a unit have a keyword that attacked with. So having that makes it pretty nice. And there's quite a few keywords, so you got some good options for it. And then when she is deployed, same kind of effect. Well, similar now, just instead of having to attack with a unit, now it's on attack. The next unit you play this phase costs 1 less if it shares a keyword with a friendly trait. So the effects are so much better when she's deployed. Luckily, she can deploy quite quickly at 5, and being in the green aspect as well means she can use all the ramp and stuff to go ahead and deploy a little bit quicker. But yeah, her effect is a lot better when she is deployed, because she just attacks and makes it so the next unit you play this phase costs 1 less if it shares a keyword with a friendly unit. So if you play out things with a friendly unit already, or off keywords out, we've gone for the previous turn before you deploy, you can then start pumping things out, especially if you do it like shielded. Shielded makes the unit a little bit harder to be taken out, so you can then bring out more shielded units that are then cheaper than the last, which is cool. So some pretty nice things there. So a pretty nice leader. I'm not sure how great she's going to be. Good stats, pretty nice effect. It just depends on how many units you have in your deck as keyword to get the most benefit from this leader. It seems quite difficult, or not the easiest from the leader. Well, when she's in the leader area, but when she's deployed, it seems a lot better. Now for the other leader we've got, that is Supreme Leader Snoke. So Snoke is the other heroic command leader. Well, no, the villainy command leader. Sorry. So it makes sense that he's in command, because he does run the whole First Order. So that does make sense. And yeah, it's obviously going to be a villainy because he's a bad guy. But it is pretty cool, and he's got a pretty interesting ability. And it's kind of debunked already my theory that you have to use, like, leaders need to use the Force. So there's always one leader that needs to use the Force, because neither Supreme Leader Snoke or just looked at Morgan Elsbeth, that's her name. Neither of them need to use the Force. So my theory about there being in each aspect combo one leader needs to use the Force and one that doesn't is, yeah, wrong out the window, because neither of the Villainy green leaders need to use the Force to use their effects. But this one's pretty interesting. Is another one of those leaders that has the you need to play a resource behind to use the effect, and his traits are pretty good. He's a 6, so he's 6 deploy, so not too bad, and a 4/7, so a good amount of health. Once again, out the range takedown, and 4 power, which is pretty solid. He also has the Force, First Order, and Official traits. So Official has some like slight benefits, certain things. Force is always beneficial. Once again, they're all going to be Force leaders. And First Order, you got a benefit from Force Order specific things, which I don't think there is many at the moment. And first effect, you need to play a resource behind, because when he's in the lead area, you need to play. His action is to pay 1 and tap him to give an experience token to a unit with the most power among friendly Villainy units. If multiple are tied, choose 1. So this is pretty nice. So you got to play a resource behind, so you're technically playing any unit for 1 more, but then it's getting extra 1/1 to its stats. So you're playing extra 1, like extra 1 to that card's cost, but extra 1/1 to its stats, which is pretty nice. And it gives it to the most powerful unit you have, so it's like basically making the most powerful ones even more powerful, which could be good, could be bad, depends, because if you make it too powerful, it becomes easy targets for things like Follow Dragon and stuff like that. But then if you're making it something that's even strong, like something the biggest, the strongest, even bigger, it's gonna be harder for your opponent to deal with, maybe, which is pretty nice. And you don't get to choose. It's just whatever the biggest. So if you got 2 units, you want to power up one, but it's not. You got to power up the weaker one and not the strongest one. You don't get to choose, but still powering up your units and not having like a restriction like Obi-Wan, where you can only do it to things that don't already have experience, is pretty nice. Just powering up more and more and more is cool. And then when he's deployed on attack, you can give an experience token to the unit with the most power among friendly units. Now, the thing with this is when he's deployed, he doesn't say, just like how Ahsoka doesn't, he doesn't say other units. So since he doesn't say other, if he's the only unit on board or the strongest one on board, he gives the experience to himself. So on attack, give an experience token to the unit with the most power among friendly Villainy units. And it only works on Villainy ones, but if you play a Villainy deck, you're most likely playing Villainy units. So be able to attack with him and power himself up is pretty nice. Like, only ever leader that I know that does that is Rey, like buff her up. But once again, she has a restriction like Obi-Wan. You can only buff herself up once because she's got a limit at a cap at 3 powers. The maximum is of 2 powers. The maximum you can give anything experience to. So once they go above 2 power, you can't do it. But with Snoke, he can just keep buffing himself over and over and again when attacking, turn himself into a 5/8 when he swings, and even further beyond. And since leaders aren't the easiest to take down for like events and stuff like that, like unless you've got like Rivals 4 specific ones that don't mention leaders, then you can have a harder time taking him out. So he seems pretty cool. Be interesting to see how he does when he's dropped. And then for the last of the leaders, we got Avar Kriss. So this is one from the High Republic, or from the Old Republic, from from the Old Republic era. And it's pretty interesting one. A 9 deploy as well, so very late deploying, but has an interesting way to deploy a little bit sooner depending on how much you can benefit from the Force. She does have 410 to her stat, so a big amount of health. I think not the most, but a big amount. Same as since she's like deploys quite late, same as thing like Jabba and Palpatine, where they just have big bodies because they deploy so late. And 4 power is not too bad, but it can go up a little bit further as well. So she has the Force General Republics, all those good benefits there, which is pretty nice. And she's quite unique in that she doesn't require you to have a Force base or a base that generates the Force just to go ahead and get the Force. So most units that need most leaders and stuff and cards that need to use the Force, then you need to generally have a base most of the time that can generate the Force by either attacking or do certain things like the rare ones. But Avar Kriss is unique in that she doesn't need to do anything to gain the Force because she can create it herself. Because she has an action in the leader area, which is by tapping her, the Force is with you, create your Force token. So Her effect is just to tap herself to gain the force, so to create your force token. That's pretty handy, so it means you don't have to use things like attacks or worry about your opponent stopping you from attacking to gain the force, because you can just do it with her effect. And it goes in well with her deploy as well, because the amount of times you can use the force can help you decrease the cost to deploy. Because her epic action is if the number of resources you control plus the number of times you use the force this phase is 9 or more, you can deploy her. So you can either deploy at 9 resources, or you reduce it at a lower resource cost from 9, depending on how many times you use the force. So if you use the force at least once in the game, in a phase, her cost is reduced by 1, so instead of 9 it's 8. If you use it twice, it goes 7. And I think there was a thing going around from the playtesters of the game that said most of the time she's deploying as a 7 deploy. You can use the force twice and then deploy. But then there's been a very rare time where she got to 5. That was a very, very unique time. But that's pretty cool. And when she does deploy, if you do have the force, which you can easily create before deploying, then while the force is with you, she gains an extra 4 plus power plus overwhelm. So she gives while the force is with you, so while you got your force token, she's an 8/10 that has overwhelm, which is pretty powerful for leader. Doesn't do anything else, but then is a powerhouse to come down and basically just have the force then. So you ideally don't want to use the force when she's deployed, unless you can generate it again. But then, because while you got the force, she's an 8/10, which is very, very powerful, and then just gets piercing as well with it. So really nice leader. Already hyped for this, and looking to build some decks with her as well. It's just going to depend on her use. It's going to depend on how many times or how many effects are that need to use the force to benefit from her just needing to basically giving you force tokens so you can generate force. That's going to be pretty cool. So, starting off with the Vigilance cards, these are the Villainy side ones we've got. So, from the last week, we've got revealed the Magistrate Scout, Nameless Terror, Supremacy TIE SF, and Darth Vader. So, Darth Vader getting a brand new, another legendary. So, this will make the 3rd legendary, and we're going in almost every aspect for him. I wonder if we get a Cunning legendary of Darth Vader at some point. But these are pretty nice cards. We've got Imperial Magistrate, Magistrate Scout being a free 2/4. So same stats as Yoda, just in the Villainy side. Would restore 2 just like Yoda, but it doesn't have that when defeated you draw a card. So same kind of overall stats and ability to restore like Yoda, which has seemed like a lot of good play. Like Yoda is very good because of the stats and what it can do with the healing, but also because of the fact that it can draw a card when defeated. Whereas that's the only thing missing off this Magistrate Scout. So still an Imperial on a Trooper, so getting the benefits from those traits, which is pretty nice. So pretty good card there. A very nice addition to some cheap cards for Villainy side of blue. Then in the same cost, you've got Nameless Terror being a free cost, free. So pretty standard have we seen. The same with like Supremacy being both of these being a free cost, freeze, with the Nameless Terror being a creature and Supremacy being a first order vehicle and fighter. Now, Nameless Terror is kind of going against, like we see in some sets, where you've got the set having a focus on a certain thing, and it also in there being a card that can come down and kind of go against it, because when played, it allows you to exhaust a force unit, so a way to tap down your opponent's force unit so they can't attack with it and gain the force, like most force bases want you to do. And then on attack, you can make each enemy unit lose the force trait for this phase, and along with force units, so once again can't gain the force. So this is kind of a way to go against those decks that have those new force bases needing to attack with a force unit so they can get the force. You're going to stop it via this, which is pretty cool. And then Supremacy TIE is just a Sentinel. It's a free cost, free Sentinel for space, which is pretty nice. Very nice card. A nice new addition to the Villainy side blue, which I'm looking forward to having for those kind of decks. So pretty nice there. And never tie it for the it's basically a better just like how we had with Soulblock Guard got out Soulblock Guard got out power crept by Phase 3 Dark Trooper, having the same stats and effect and skills, just now being, even though it's in an aspect now, so just being just mono black, it then had the ability to get stronger for every damage it takes and survives. And this kind of does the same thing with to the Black Starfighter, from set 2, the Sentinel for space to free cost, free 2, because it's now same thing. It's only in black, but in have another aspect with it, like Vigilance, which is pretty nice. Then you get to have a little bit extra health and just be a Sentinel, just be a little bit better than that one, which is pretty cool. Then we got Vader, and this is a very nice one, and kind of might revitalize the want to use ECL compared to other bases, because at the moment we've like shifted around our bases when ECL was the best for the best base for the first 2 sets. Then Town took over for set 3, and then set 4 we had as well Town, and then now it's gone to Data Vault with after the recent suspensions of like Django and stuff. So Data Vault has become the most used base, and the #1 base at the moment. But now this Darth Vader is making it so ECL might be a favored pick just because of what it does, because it's a 6 cost, 5/6, so pretty good stats. And when played, you give a shield token to a friendly unit and to an enemy unit. So you can give it to itself and also to one of your opponent's units. Now that's the same thing as like trying to think Pike. Pike. That's it, Long Pike. I'm trying to think about what the first name was, but yeah, Long Pike, where when it attacks, you can give a shield to your opponent's unit. If you do, give a shield to one of your units. This is the same thing, but only when played, not every time it attacks. But then his on attack is defeat an enemy unit with a shield token on it. So you specifically are able to, when played, give a shield token to one of your opponent's units as well as yours. And then you get to attack and take out that unit that you get the shield to. And if you partner this with a Long Pike, you can then go ahead and shield up things to make him targets for Vader, and then Vader go ahead and take him out, which is pretty nice. Like a very strong card, very good and worthy of legendary rarity. Then for the rest of Vigilance, we've got also some more here. We've got some heroic side of the Vigilance. We got Lothwolf, T6 Shuttle, 1947, and also Itinerary Warrior. No, what's it? Yeah, Itinerant Warrior. So it's pretty nice units there. We got Lothwolf being a 2 cost 3/3 with Sentinel, so pretty good stats, like same as the Battlefield Marine stats, but with Sentinel and a creature. But then downside is having Sentinel on those good stats for its cost, it can attack. So it could be a very beefy Sentinel from turn 1 in the Grand Arena, but it can attack, which is a good downside, because if you got units like units with that like such good stats for its cost, like Battlefield Marine, normally have no effect because he's got such good stats, so it shouldn't have effect with the stats. Whereas Lothwolf, the same stats plus Sentinel, but it can't attack, which is not too bad since the Sentinel defend you. Then we got Shuttle T6 or T6 Shuttle, which is I think Ahsoka's ship. So it's a 3 cost 3/4, so the Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon stats on a heroic Vigilance spaceship, fringe vehicle and transport, and when this unit is attacked, so makes good use of with Ahsoka by Ahsoka being able to give it the Sentinel, and then if it's attacked, when this unit is attacked, before damage is dealt, you can give an experience token to this unit. So before damage is exchanged, it gets the bit buffed up, and it's not just once or at a certain point; it's just any time it's attacked into, it gets buffed up. So if you can heal this off and keep it as a Sentinel, then you can keep buffing. You can keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Your opponent has to go into it. So that's pretty nice. Solid stats still. So I think we'll maybe see play because it's got good stats for its cost, and it has a nice little effect to go with it. And then we got Itinerant Warrior. This is a 4 cost 4/4. Pretty solid stats for that cost we've seen with K2SO and stuff. Force Jedi, so no Republic trait. Comes in shielded, so it comes out of their protection, so that's very good for its stats. And then when played, you can use the Force, so use your Force token if you do heal 3 damage from your base. So a new way to use the Force, so that's good with good for Avar Kriss, and just nice way to just generate use up the Force when you generate it to give you a bit of healing as well with blue, and coming in shielded as 4/4 is pretty solid, pretty nice there. So pretty nice cards there so far, and we've also got some for the non-villainy or heroic side as well. So you got these new 5 as well. So we got the new space units that aren't vehicles. So a first time in this set, we have things that go in space that aren't vehicles, and these are the Purgles or the space whales, I think they're called. So we got a 5 cost and a 7 cost. So we got Graceful Purgle and Grappling Guardian. So Graceful Purgle is a 5 cost 2/7. So they're like the Wookiees of space. So there's like stats for the cards. Like Wookiees in this game have a ton of health and not the biggest amount of power, but they have things like grit stuff to power it, so they're big booties, not too much damage. And the same thing for the space whales, where it's a 5 cost 2/7 but it's a sentinel as well, so it can defend you in the ground arena, so like a bigger home one, which is cool. And the nice thing about it is now with these on board, you can start hot shot blastering in the space arena on these, which is cool. And then you got Grappling Guardian, which is a 7-drop, so in 3 9s, even bigger. So yeah, even bigger stats into like 2 more health. But also as a solid one played, you can defeat a space unit that has 6 or less remaining HP. So a removal and a hard to take down body as well, which is pretty nice. That's pretty cool there. Then you got Priestess of the Force, so never way to use that Force token. It's a 7 cost, 6, 8, so very nice stats for its cost, very good. It's only 1 more health than things like Luke Skywalker, which is cool, and it can be used on either side of the Force. And when played, you can use the Force, and if you do, give a shield token to each up to 5 units. So it's not just any type of unit, or like, say, space unit, ground unit, or certain kind of units with traits. It's just any 5 units. So when you play this, you get to put shield tokens on up to any 5 units of yours. Well, not just of yours, your opponent's as well. You can put shield tokens on any units, just up to 5 units on the board. So you can protect yourself and 4 other units that you control, which is really nice. That's really cool, really good use of it, and very nice card, especially for an uncommon as well. Then we got the Mythosaur. So this is a 9-drop. There's one of those new creatures that are 9 cost, but 10/10 stats. So Mythosaur, and a new legendary as well. So 9-drop, 10/10. Is a Mandalorian and creature, and it's Mandalorian because it's the crest of the Mandalorian. Like he's got the crest of the Mythosaur, so that is his like clan's crest, I think. And he comes in shielded, and his effects are friendly upgraded units can't be exhausted or turned to hand by enemy card abilities. So it's kind of shutting down what yellow does in a unit, but then it's a high costing unit, so it's going to be very hard to get this out before yellow can even do all the things they do in that case. And also got the other ability which is more flavorful, which is friendly leaders gain the Mandalorian trait, because like I said, it is the animal, it's just the crest for the Mandalorian for the Mandalorian, so it makes sense that it gives the Mandalorian trait to your leader because it's the crest it's the Mythosaur crest. So it's not a great one. It's not like Crate Dragon where it comes down and actually puts in work and makes it a viable threat. It just comes in shielded, which is only really relevant towards things like green and red, where they really want to kind of damage it in certain ways to kind of get rid of it. Whereas against yellow and blue, they're just going to take it out or bounce about the hand and things like that. Well, yellow it can't. So it's good against yellow because then it can't be because it'd be upgraded with shield, but it's just knock off shield of it, and they can bounce it and things like that, or keep it tapped down forever some various ways. But it's not. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but it's going to be an interesting one and a pretty cool one as well. But we've seen other units like this that are high costing, like 9 cost 10/10s. Like Crate Dragon made a load of is a very powerful one, and once it drops down, it's very impactful because the opponent has to deal with it, and even if they try to deal with it, or I can deal with it, you do damage back, so it does something in response. Whereas the other one we got, which is the Zilla Beast, didn't really see much play, or any play really, and didn't see much use at all. And then we got Shatterpoint, and this is a very nice card. It's another one of those events that allows you to take things out. It's got 2 options. You can either defeat a non-lethal unit that has 3 or less remaining HP, so always that. So like one of the options of Vigilance, we always do, or you can use the Force, so use your Force token, and then defeat any non-leader unit and just defeat it. So it's like a cheaper Vigilance if you use the Force, which is very cool, and more like cards, just more removal options for blue, which is really cool. So I'm really liking this, and another good reason to kind of want the Force to do things like this and just have a removal built into that. So that is blue. Let's have a look at the green cards next. So for the first lot of green cards, we've got the Villainy ones, and we've got 4, and that is Exegol Patroller, Knight of Ren, Eye of Sign or Scion, and then Supremacy, a new capital ship. So these are pretty interesting. You got Exegol Patroller being a new 2 cost 3/1 with overwhelm, so pretty nice. Very cool for Vader decks. Even though it's quite fragile, but it hits quite hard, and overwhelm is pierce through damage as well, which is pretty nice. So and a pretty cheap unit as well to use. You got Knight of Ren, so being the turn 2 version of Battlefield Marine, whereas a free cost with very good stats, free cost 4/4, very good to play turn 2. And but then the compensating for the fact it's got very good stats is that it's forced order because it's part of the Knights of Ren, which is not a trait, which is interesting, and then no skills as well. So a pretty strong unit you can play as early as turn 2. And a very nice one to pull off Vader as well. Actually, forget about it. Then you've got Eye of Sion being a 6 cost 4/7, so a pretty nice one. Not a capital ship, so you can't really reduce the cost play in PF, but it's got a load of keywords. So it's got Hidden, Ambush, Overwhelm, and Restore 1. So it's healing you 1. You can do that straight away with Ambush if it can attack the same turn it's played. It's got Hidden, so it can't be attacked into when it's played. And then it's Overwhelm, so it's doing Piercing. That's also a very good stat, very good abilities to be able to come down, attack the same turn it's played, heal 1 from your base, and also pierce through any unit you do take out from Ambush. And then can't be attacked back into that same phase because of Hidden, which is pretty nice and a pretty sick rare. Just a shame it doesn't have the capital ship, because that'd be a good one for Piet. And then we got Supremacy. So our next joint, I think it's the joint highest costing card. Can't remember if it might be the highest costing card, because I can't remember if Annihilator is 11 or 12, or no, I think both Annihilator and I can't remember one from set 3 or 2 is the I think this might be the highest costing unit in the game at the moment, and it comes down with very solid stats. 12 cost, 12/12 as well, so very big stats. Probably the biggest spaceship in Star Wars. Comes with ambush as well, so it can attack the same turn it's played. So it's not just coming down just sitting there. It's attacking the same turn it's played, and then what's on board gives whatever friendly vehicles extra 6 power, 6 damage. So make it everything huge. And being a capital ship means you can drop it in Piet as well, but then the cheapest you drop it in Piet is when it's deployed and you pay 10. So make it a 10 cost is still late game, but then buffing everything out, you most likely won the game before you can even drop this. So this is a pretty interesting one, pretty cool one, and I reckon it'd be more useful, more used in Endless Legion strategies than it would in just playing it hardcasted. And then for the other cards we got are in green that are not from the dark side. We got Gungi. Not Grogu, Gungi. It's once again another one of the skillless ones that just very good stats. A 2 cost 2/5, so the highest health you can get for a 2 cost at the moment. Very nice one. Means you can have a Jedi unit. Well, no, not just Jedi unit, it's a Jedi Wookiee and the first Jedi Wookiee as well. That can come down and make sure you can get the Force by hopefully surviving pretty easily the turn 1 play, and then be able to attack and get you the Force on this Force focus base. And you also got Jedi Temple Guards. Now, this is similar to, I can't remember, is one for set 2 that has it was a 4 cost 2/4 that has ambush, but then that had raid 2, so it's still swinging for 4. But this one does the same thing, but it's got restore 2 instead of raid 2. So it's a 4 cost 2/4 that has ambush that attack the same turn as played, which is good because if you need a Force unit to generate the Force, you can drop this and generate the Force. And then it's also got restore 2 as well, so it's healing damage from your base and a good amount as well. So it's like a more expensive. I can't remember what the Mandalorian one. I can't remember what it's called now. Sindari Peacekeeper. That's it. It's like a more expensive one than that by 1 more, but it's ambushed. It's got fixed 2 power instead of raid 2 to become stronger, and then a little bit less health as well. So it's like 1 more, like 1 power, 1 health added to its power, restored 2, but then ambush instead of raid, which is pretty nice, and it costs 1 more. Very nice unit, and a good way to kind of have something come down and attack so you can gain the Force if you're having trouble trying to get a Force unit to stick. We got another one of those Space Whales Purgos. We got Hyperspace Wayfarer and a 6 cost 4/10. So just like I said, they're like the Wookiees of space. They got a huge amount of health, and it's also a decent amount, small amount of power, but no like raiding. This is just that stats with no effect. So pretty nice one there. Not amazing, but still decent. And you got Protect the Pod. So this is like a never. I think it's Strike True. Can't remember what the name of the card is from set 1. That allows you to allow a unit to do damage equal to its power to another unit. but this is a 4-cost event that allows your friendly non-vehicle unit to deal damage equal to its remaining HP to an enemy unit. So you can't use it on vehicles, whereas the other one can. It's a little bit cheaper. But you can have one of your, and it's regarding remaining HP instead of power as well. So if you got something that's got a big amount of health, you can use that to do a load of damage to your opponent, which is pretty nice and goes well since it's got the whale on the picture and well on the art of it. So it makes sense that about it. So that's all the green cards. Let's have a look at the red ones next. So these are the only red cards we've seen so far. We haven't seen many of the red cards, but we're seeing some pretty nice ones. We've got 3 heroic ones and a non-heroic, basically just normal red one. So we got Jedi Starfighter, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Mace Windu as our heroic units. We got a 2-drop one in Jedi Starfighter, being a 2-cost 1/4. It's a bit more health than most ones, but only 1 power. And on attack, you can do 1 damage to a space unit, so more like another unit that goes against a space unit, so fighting for a little bit easier. Ki-Adi-Mundi's in here as well as a 4-cost 4/4, so never a solid 4-cost 4/4, but it competes for the spot of K2SO in that same aspect. But it has got the differences where this is a Force Jedi Republic unit, and this is another way to generate, use the Force, not generate the Force, but use the Force token. And that is when played, you may use the Force. If you do, draw 2 cards as a way to kind of give you more cards and draw more, which is really nice. I've just seen like more cards more cards being used, like Mothma, which can generate you more cards and more options. Ki-Adi-Mundi is going to be a very nice card, I reckon. Then we've got Mace Windu. Another card that can use the Force is a 6-cost 6/6, so more of these units that have stats that mirror its cost, and 6/6 for Mace Windu. Force Jedi Republic, Overwhelm as well, and when played, you may use the Force, so another way to use Force token. If you do, deal 4 damage to a unit. So kind of similar to Wrecker, just has 1 less power, and it does 1 less damage, but needs to use a Force. So when Wrecker gets rotated out, we got Mace Windu replacing him, but still a pretty nice one. Doesn't need to destroy a resource just to play it and use it as well. So pretty nice one and a good reason to use the Force. And then we got Sorcerer's Blast being another way to use the Force. This is a 1-cost event that allows you to, if you use the Force, you can deal 3 damage to a unit. So a kind of more powerful Dara and Raid that needs you the Force to use it. But then if you generate the Force, you want things to use it with. These are all good cards to use them with. So some pretty nice cards here for red. Now let's look at the last lot of aspect cards, being the Cunning ones. That's the one. So then with the Cunning, we got quite a few Cunning cards as well. So here on the Villainy side ones, we got Shin Hati, Second Sister, and Balin's Scroll, or a Skull, as the Force units for the Villainy side of Cunning. It's pretty nice when you got a 3-cost, 4-cost, and 5-cost, so going up from your turn 2, 3, or 4. No, sorry, yeah. Yeah, that is right. And some pretty nice ones as well. So you'll have the Force, so there are ways to attack, generate the Force. And we've got Shin Hati and Balin being ones with hidden, so they can't be attacked at the same turn they're played. And Shin even having the shielded ability, so be able to be shielded as well. Not only that, so a nice new addition for things like Gar. Because it's a 3-cost 4/2, so hitting quite hard, becoming a 5/2 with Gar, as long as she keeps the shield about and can't be attacked simply played, so your opponent can't attack into him to like pop the shield and things like that. Then you got Second Sister being a 4-cost 3/6, so good amount of stats on the cost. Essentially, if you match it to Kanan, who's the same cost, he has 1 more power but 1 less health. So it's like the difference being that she's got 1 more health converted from power. And she's got on attack where you can discard 2 cards from your deck, and for each Force unit or Force card discarded by this, because remember there are cards in different types of cards that have Force, like events have Force and things like that, and even I'm not sure if there's upgrades that have the Force, but I know their events are. And then for each Force card discarded this way, you can ready a resource. So kind of a way to get back resources if you pack your deck full of Force cards, and that's a pretty good card. It's a pretty nice effect. Just be interesting to see how many, depending on how many Force units there are, if you can actually use that. But normally it's going to be, it's a may you may discard, so you don't have to. You can use it for the stats, but you don't have a chance to restand cards as well. Then you got Balin being a 5-cost 5/5, so pretty good stats. Never one of those units to have the same stats as his cost. Also has hidden, so you can have it be safe safe on board by not being attacked into. It can be removed by events and effects, but not by attacks. And then when played, you may use the Force, so another way to use the Force. If you do, return a non-leader unit that costs 4 or less to its owner's hand, then its owner may play it for free. So that's pretty cool. Being able to return a non-leader unit that costs 4 or less back to your owner's hand and then play it again. So basically, whatever you played the turn before, or the turns before he was dropped, you can bounce back to your hand, play it back in, like fresh damage on, you can bring it back out, bring it back in, and make use of those when played abilities as well. And it's not just on your units, you can do it on your opponents, but then they'll be able to play it back out for free. So it might not be one on your opponent's units, but if they got a unit that is active, you can bounce it out of there off the board and back in rested, so they get a sack of it, which would be handy in that kind of instance. Then we got some of the new Nile cards. I think they're Nile. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is Nile, but I'm most likely wrong, so correct me if I am. We got Nile Marauder and Marchion Row as well, being the one of the new legendaries. So they are Underworld and Nile, with the Marauder being a trooper. And pretty interesting because they're all about raid. So Nile, the Marauder is a free cost 1/5, so very good stat. Same stats as same cost and stats as Sonara Peacekeeper, but it's got raid free. So when it attacks, it's hitting for 3 more power. So it's swinging for 4. So it's essentially a 4/5 when it swings. But only does 1 damage when it's attacked into. So pretty interesting. And then March and Row is a 4/7, so very good stats. 6 cost 6/7, very good stats. And each friendly unit's raid is doubled. So that means this Marauder will be having a raid 6, swinging for 7 when it swings, which is pretty strong. Now these seem like pretty good cards for the old Grand Inquisitor from set 1, but I think there's most sets where like there's new cards. I remember for set 2, there's new cards that can make Grand Inquisitor better, having cards that have the power within range of him and a good amount of health. But then the Grand Inquisitor just never sees play. So I'm interested in this. Changes it to give him a yellow version, which could be pretty cool, and have some of these nice things, especially with raid, be able to restand things that have low power but then hit quite hard is pretty cool, and a good amount of power and health on Marauder means you can potentially do some pretty nice stuff with it. And for the last lot of cards for this video, we've got the other Cunning cards and the one heroic card we did see as well. So we've got Jedi Vector as our 1 heroic card, being a 2 cost 1 free. That this unit gets an extra 1 power if you control another Jedi unit, and another extra 1 power if you control a lightsaber upgrade. So you got both a Jedi unit and a lightsaber upgrade on board. It gains an extra 2/2, making it 2 power, making it a 3/3. If you've got one of those things, it makes it a 2/3. Otherwise, just a 1/3. It doesn't seem that great, but you can make it stronger. But then there's better space of units that you can have instead. And then for the Cunning cards here, we got Vernestra Row, a pretty nice one, a 3 cost 3/4, it's the same stats as like set 1 Ezra and things like that, and even the Jedi Lights and the Millennium Falcon. But it's got a very nice effect where there's never one they use the Force. Where when played, you can use the Force. If you do, ready this unit. So a nice way to get in some attacks, make use of that Force token as well, and then where it can attack, then if you've got a base that turns the Force by attacking, you can play it, use the Force to ready yourself, then swing with her, because she's a Force unit, you gain the Force back again, which is pretty cool. So very nice new card, very looking forward to using that card and things like Qui-Gon. You got Dooku, a new Force unit, but not in the heroic side, so you can play it on either side of the Force for Cunning. There's a 4 cost 5/4, hidden as well, so it can't be attacked same time as play, which is very good for its stats as well. And also when played, each friendly unit that already has hidden can't be attacked for that phase. So a nice way to kind of almost a sense reactivate hidden on cards that have already been played that have hidden, and also be hidden itself. So a very nice card. Then we got Pounce, a new trick we've got, which is a 2 cost event that allows you to attack with a creature and give it an extra 4 power. So it's one of those many events we've got where you attack with a unit and give it more power, and then some give it more power, and some get some stats, some benefits, some are certain traits and things like that. It's a new one, but this one's for creature, making it a 2 power event that hits for an extra 4 for a creature. So that's pretty nice. But so far we haven't seen many creatures in yellow, so unless there's a good reason to put yellow with a creature focused deck like Kanan, then I don't see a use of playing this. But then if there is more useful creatures or more good ways to play it with yellow for Kanan being a creature focused deck, this could be pretty nice because it's a bit stronger than the surprise attack or surprise strike, but then it's on a specific kind of trait. So that is it for all the spoilers this week. So this is all from when I was recording what we had revealed. So thanks for watching, and let me know what you feel about, like, what you think about some of these cards. I'm getting hyped more and more as we get very reveal for this new set, and I always started testing for other things as well, like from the new set as well, because this current set isn't that interesting to me. But a new set with these more Force and Jedi stuff, it's just got me wanting to play. New I normally don't do is just play the new set stuff before it's released, and just play that and test with that. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.